both came out there with heavy leg kicks as well. Francis Ngannou said he started to initiate the leg kicks because he wanted to slow down JDS's movement. He knew JDS moves around a lot, so slowing down that movement is going to allow him to eventually trap him in place or effectively get him into the space he needs to counter Junior Dos Santos. One of the most dangerous things about JDS is his ability to get in very quickly and land that big right hand of his, right? So if you cut down the movement early, it makes him a lot easier to deal with and a lot easier for you to manage the distance, right? Because Ngannou does have an insanely long reach, which JDS eventually has to come in on, right? Eventually has to cover the distance necessary for him to land his own punches. But what did you see JDS do after? He landed a leg kick of his own. Right before the counter occurred, JDS gave out a huge feint just to see the distance, right? Threw his left hand into Ngannou's face, sidestepped a little bit, and then moved directly at Ngannou. And what did Ngannou do? He pulled back a little bit and galloped his feet back instead of moving them in the traditional manner where you step back with your back foot and then your front foot follows, right? He was kind of hopping back, pushing off the back leg instead, which actually gets you in a lot of danger from punches, right? But impressively, Ngannou was able to get away from JDS quickly. I mean, Ngannou is super athletic, super quick with his feet, and JDS got into the neutral position. The distance is very long. So eventually JDS went for the leg kick, right? And he actually dropped Ngannou because of it. Gave him a little bit of a Stockton slap on the way down. This can allow Junior Dos Santos to eventually establish the distance he needs and also get Ngannou on edge. But it eventually backfired because after he landed the leg kick, and Ngannou stood up and sprung to his feet like a cat. I mean, the athleticism on this guy is insane. Ngannou sprung to his feet and JDS immediately started backing away. And what do we know as the biggest weakness from JDS is his inability to fight backwards. And he gave that to Francis Ngannou right afterward. So from an advantageous position, JDS completely threw out his opening window. And he gave Ngannou the complete advantage. Landing a devastating leg kick and dropping the opponent is one of the most advantageous positions you can ever have on someone, or opportunities you can give yourself. Not just to attack, but to set up something, to correctly position yourself. And JDS immediately went away from it and caused this kind of situation. Look where JDS is now, and look where Ngannou is. JDS's back is on the cage, and what is he doing? He's scaling the cage. He's moving left and right, moving laterally, trying to get out of this position that he put himself in. So JDS starts moving to his right, and Ngannou's trapping him. He's cutting him off very effectively, and he goes and throws that long left hook, right? JDS moving backwards, scaling the cage. He doesn't normally throw counter shots. Ngannou tries to cut him off, trap him with that left hook to land the right overhand, right? The left hook is intercepting JDS's movement to trap him in that space so he can land that big right overhand over the top. And there's a big difference between this setup from Francis Ngannou compared to JDS's overhand that he tries to land on Ngannou later in the fight. Big difference in the setup and a big difference in technique. Very hard to tell if it lands at all, and if it did, toward this frame, it just nicks him, right? It just skids right past JDS's skin. And the reaction of JDS looked like he got hit by a car or something. And now looking at the knockout sequence, first we gotta look at something else here. The knockout sequence is almost the exact same situation as something else that happened before the fight. Around 4 minutes and 38 seconds, JDS came in with a very similar entry. He kind of showed his left hand, dropped levels, took a huge stride forward, and looked like he was going to commit with the right hand. What does Ngannou do? Moves his feet back, pulls back with his upper body to fully extend the punch so he can find the counter shot over the punch with the left hook, right? Look what Ngannou goes for. He goes for that long left hook, but JDS didn't commit here, right? It was a feint to see what the reaction of Ngannou is. But even getting this out of Ngannou, I mean, this is perfect, right? You know what he's going to do if you come in with this shot. This is how you bait, and you can even trap fighters because of this. So about 40 seconds later, they're both in a neutral-ish kind of position. JDS is standing a little bit taller, and what he does is he puts his left hand forward a little bit, drops levels, looks like he's going to go for the right hand again. What does Ngannou do? He steps back with his right foot to create a little bit more distance for him to lean away. He pulls on what JDS throws is an overhand like his life depended on it, right? There was almost no setup here. So he got the bait the first time. He did almost the exact same thing without throwing the punch. And he got almost the exact same reaction from Francis Ngannou other than stepping back with both feet, right? And what does Francis go for? As he leans away from the overhand to fully extend it past him, he goes for the left hook again. And JDS threw this right overhand so hard, it looked like eventually he was going to make a 180 and turn his back to Francis. He thrusts his body forward behind the punch. It misses Ngannou, and now Ngannou has the left hook counter on him. Ngannou's the last guy you want to turn your back on when you're throwing punches at him. Now the left hook just grazes JDS' skin, but what is coming afterward? That right shovel hook, man. Right on the jaw clings JDS. JDS's back is turned to Francis Ngannou. Ngannou's chasing him down. This is the scariest position you'll ever see. Back turn, no eyes on Ngannou. Ngannou's just throwing bombs on JDS. And eventually gets him down. Now, this whole sequence, yes, the setup and the situation happened before in the same fight, but where did you see a similar TKO? Francis Ngannou versus Andrei Arlovski. It was almost the exact same sequence. No real setup from Arlovski. He shoots that right overhand from a distance. What does Ngannou do? Pulls back, left hook right over the overhand because Andrei Arlovski thrusted his body forward behind his own punch, gets countered by the left hook, and then right shovel hook. And even as they hit the ground and Ngannou's ground pounding them to finish the fight, they're in the same position. People who deny or some even disrespect Francis Ngannou's skill is just absolutely crazy. The guy's position, the guy's countering ability is unlike anybody else in this division. Yes, there's Stipe Miocic, who has a very good counter right hand. Of course, he's very good at pulling up punches and countering. Ngannou is a little bit different where he repositions his feet very quickly in sudden moments to completely throw off the target of his opponent, right? He did the same thing to JDS that he did to Andrei Arlovski years ago. And coincidentally, it worked on who people thought was a better boxer than Ngannou in this fight with JDS. This just proves Ngannou's the best boxer in this division, the most powerful puncher in the UFC, period, probably of all time. And you can even see the difference between the overhands of each other. What did Ngannou do and what did JDS do? So you saw JDS with no real setup, just thrusted his hand forward a little bit to give the tell, lowered his levels and threw the right overhand. At least when Ngannou threw his overhand right when JDS was scaling the cage, he tried to trap him with the left hook first, right? He tried to zone him in a little bit before throwing it. JDS just winged out an overhand from a distance. It used to work back in the day, back in the previous era. He knocked out, like Mark Hunt with it. I believe he knocked out Roy Nelson. He knocked out Cain Velasquez with this. It's a different era. It's a different level of fighter, different level of striker in Ngannou specifically. And it just shows, man, Ngannou is ahead of the game compared to a lot of these fighters. Besides Stipe Miocic and DC, who I still believe are, the best heavyweights right now, Ngannou is a dangerous, dangerous guy for anybody in this division, man. And 100% he needs a title shot. Besides Tony Ferguson, I would argue Francis Ngannou is the most deserving of a title shot. What that means today is a little bit different than before, but he deserves it, man. His last 3 opponents did not even make it out of 2 minutes and 22 seconds. JDS, Cain Velasquez, and Curtis Blades were his last 3 opponents, and he beat all of them in 2 minutes and 22 seconds. It actually took him to beat Cain Velasquez and Curtis Blades in the same amount of time, 1 minute and 11 seconds, to beat JDS. He's already beaten the best heavyweights of the previous era already in his young career. I mean, Ngannou's amazing. So great performance from Francis Ngannou. I want to see him fight the winner of Stipe and DC. I believe everybody wants that now. And I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the post-fight reaction video of the entire card. It's going to come out in a little bit, so be lookout for that. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.